Welcome everyone to another episode of the Dragonus Podcastus. My name is Dead Ponic. I'll be your DM for this evening. Working with me to bring the magic of my homebrew to life is my lovely assistant, Lady Maeve. If you enjoy the podcast and want to support us, you can do so through the Patreon and my Fiverr page. Lady Maeve, my lovely assistant, tell them about the D&D School for Shenanigans and RNG.
Hello, adventurers! Do you want to learn how to play Dungeons & Dragons or learn how to be a DM? I have a class for you. If you're between the ages of 7 and 16, you can sign up for adventures, one-shots, how to play, and how to DM classes on OutSchool. If you're age 16 and up, you can play in an adventure or take a how to DM or how to play class on a website called Start Play. Mention this podcast for $5 off your first game or class with me. Current games on Start Play are Startide on Sundays, and the Waterdeep Adventures will be starting in January on Mondays. Links are below in the description.
So, as this is the first story session that Lady Maeve is participating in, things will be super different, and the context of past story sessions will need to be understood. Although you can listen to this session and get the basic idea, and you don't necessarily have to listen to the other story sessions. But anyway, the director has called quiet on the set, the stage is set, and the curtains are about to be lifted. Enjoy. The capital of Tor stands before you as you pass through the main gate. You take in the sights and the wonder as children are seen running and giggling. You open the letter you received from a strange messenger and read it to yourself.
Lieutenant Commander Victoria, report to the Solaris Command in Tor as soon as possible for reassignment. The front desk is expecting you, Commander Vicken.
Confused by the scale and landscape of the city, you approach one of the city guards.
Excuse me, Sergeant. Do you happen to know where I can find the Solaris Knight headquarters?
May I inquire who is asking, Mom? You pull back your cloak and reveal your lapel badge. The sergeant immediately bows his head. Forgive me, my lady. I wasn't aware of your arrival. Please follow me. I shall take you to Solaris HQ right away.
Thank you, Sergeant. And if I may be so bold, can we please keep my status secret in public? I don't wish to draw unnecessary attention.
Of course, Mom. He leads you to the hill to a medium building with white mahogany double doors. He opens one and allows you to step inside.
Thank you, Sergeant. That'll do.
He bows his head and leaves. You step further into the foyer and approach the secretary sitting at the front desk.
Excuse me, I'm here to see Commander Vicken.
The secretary looks up at you. Name, rank, identifier, and listing. You take off your badge and place it on the desk.
Lieutenant Commander Victoria Seaspray, Sisters of Valkyria, Alpha Company, 2nd Battalion, on special assignment by order of the Solaris Command.
She takes the badge, quickly looks at it, and hands it back to you before gesturing to one of the knights in golden armor who approaches and towers over you. Boris will escort you to your meeting.
Much obliged.
You follow Boris down a long hallway until you reach a door. Boris opens the door for you. Commander Viken is waiting for you inside, ma'am.
Thank you. Would it be possible to have my things taken to my residence?
I will see that it is done. He bows his head and walks away, his footsteps echoing through the hall as you enter the meeting room. You see a tall, burly figure sitting on a chair, sipping on tea and reading a tome before he notices you and stands up, his full height on display. You promptly salute him.
Lieutenant Commander Seaspray, reporting as ordered, sir.
He salutes you back and then extends his hand, and you promptly shake it. Good to have you with us, Lieutenant. Welcome to the capital.
Thank you, sir. I'm surprised you singled me out among the rest of my company.
There's a particular reason for that. I've read your file, even the parts that weren't censored by W5. Glad to have your skills. Please, have a seat. You sit down in one of the chairs and take your helmet off. I know you have questions about your assignment, so I'll spell it out for you. 8 weeks ago, Tor was attacked by Churian commandos. We lost a lot of good people, and one got seriously hurt. She chose to retire due to occupational injury, which means the head of Princess Lucy's protection detail has a vacancy. I had requested someone from 1st Battalion, but they're jammed up with paperwork, as it is. So your CO recommended you, and I requested you be sent to Lucy's detail, to which they recommended you be promoted to Colonel. I agree with that idea. However, it's important that you recognize your assignment is high priority and that you will likely encounter danger.
I can handle it, sir. So what is my job as the detail head?
Basically, you're there to organize everything and keep Lucy safe. Everything has to be personally vetted by you, and if there's trouble, you are to make sure that Lucy is taken to safety and to deal with any threats towards her. You will be working with other sisters and a squad of Solaris Knights, so get used to being around folks who are taller than you. For the most part, your orders will be taken from me or from one of the senior sisters or from His Majesty himself.
And when do I meet my squad and Her Highness?
You'll be in charge of security for Lucy's birthday gala and dinner party on Friday. I requisitioned specialized armor and gear for you, courtesy of our local blacksmith, George. You can pick it up on your way to Her Highness's quarters in the palace. You are to brief the detail tomorrow.
Excellent. Will that be all, Commander?
One last thing. I'm going to need that lieutenant badge. You take it off and toss it to Viking, and he pins a new badge on your uniform and hands you an envelope with a blue seal stamp. Good luck, Colonel. Dismissed. He salutes you, and you salute back before turning and leaving. You head towards the location on the envelope and see a dwarf happily pounding a piece of metal on an anvil before he looks up and sees you. Holy mother of pearl. Something I can help you with, lass.
Yes, I was told to give the owner of this smithy this requisition form.
You hand it to him, he takes it, pulls out a pair of glasses, and reads the form. Ah, one of these again. Well, you've come to the right place, lassie. Welcome to me smithy. She may not be pretty, but she's wonderful all the same. I believe I have your order in the back. You follow him into the shop as he searches several containers until he gets to the one he's looking for. There we are. He pulls out a drawer that makes an audible hiss that reveals a tan and green cuirass with armor pieces to match. He pulls out the set and places it on the table. Lightweight trilamellar polyhalic cuirass for both flexibility and protection. The plate allows the skin to breathe much easier, allowing for virtually no restrictions in movement during combat.
Weather and tear resistant?
This baby'll stop a sword strike.
Bolt proof?
Anything but rifle caliber. You pick up the gauntlets and examine them, noticing several oddities about them.
What are these here for?
Ah, buckler energy shield in case of emergency, 1200-foot grappling launcher. The belt has several survival essentials, med stims, smoke and flash bombs, emergency beacon, rations, portable camping equipment for emergencies.
How much weight can the line support?
Your weight plus up to 200 other people, roughly about 600 pounds.
How will the armor hold up against dogs?
We talking Rottweilers or Chihuahuas? Should do fine against cats.
It says here that you have specially made some weapons for me too?
Ah, that's right. This here is one of my masterpieces. He opens a wide chest and pulls out a long sword and hands it to you. This would be about your size, I think. You take the sword and unsheath it gently, the grip easing into your hand and the lightness of the blade singing proudly.
It's beautiful.
That there was my blade when I was younger, lass. She took care of me. The blade glows blue when enemies are nearby.
Elven magic? I thought you didn't dabble in that.
I don't, lass. I have an elvish friend who enchants the blade. I simply forge it. Now, let's get your fitting done. Oi, love! A female dwarf appears from behind the curtain. Yes, dearest. We got another customer who needs a fitting. He picks up the armor set and hands it to her. She stares at you briefly before motioning you to follow her. You stand on the pedestal and start taking off your old armor.
Pardon my prying, but would you be happening to be George's wife?
More than his wife, lass. Soulmate. Georgie and I have been married almost 30 years now. He loves working here. I help him with fittings and sometimes even help with forging things. Sure, he's stubborn sometimes and overprotective, but I wouldn't trade him for anyone, not even his brother.
I'm sorry, his brother?
You don't know, lass? Georgie's brother usurped his rightful place as king of the Horned Mountain, chucked him off the peak and tried to banish me. I found him living in an orc village, and we decided to move to the capital. More potential customers and much safer. She helps you into the cuirass. Any discomfort, love?
It's a little tight across the stomach.
She adjusts the straps on the armor and the tightness goes away instantly. She notices the sword as you fasten the belt tied to the sheath. I reckon that be George's blade. The first one he ever forged with his hands.
I don't know what it is, but I think it likes me.
That's the beauty of elven magics and dwarven craftsmanship. The sword and its wielder become one when they fight, and it's loyal to you, meaning you'll never have to worry about losing it. If you have to surrender it, you have to be the one who hands it over. She gets very protective if someone tries to take it or use it.
She?
That's right, love. The sword's got a personality of its own. Quite sassy, that one. You rebuckle your cloak and step off the pedestal, but Neela stopped you. Hang on a minute, lass. You can't be walking around with that yucky thing on your back. I got something here. She pulls out a long green, forest green cloak. You take it, feeling the softness of the fabric gliding through your hand. You throw the top around your neck and clap the fastener together. You exit the fitting area to see George with his hand on a small case. I got one more gift for you, lass. He opens up the case and pulls out a red-white colored bandolier. This here bandolier was made for the Great Mother. The magic it carries is super special. You fasten the bandolier to your armor. The magic won't reveal itself until the opportune moment.
I don't know how to thank y'all.
Aw, don't worry about it, lassie.
Well, I guess I should head back to the office now.
You quickly say goodbye to George and Neela and head once again to the office. You see that Boris and a short brunette woman are waiting for you at the entrance. Ma'am, I'd take you to meet His Majesty and Princess Lucy. This is Freda. She is going to be your personal aide going forward. Freda steps forward, clearly excited to meet you in person. Anything you need, ma'am, I can get no issue.
Oh, that's so good to know. Can you make sure my schedule's clear for tomorrow morning and that I have all the necessary blueprints and files and things for the briefing?
Of course. She scurries off with a cheer in her step. You turn towards Boris.
I'm assuming she's not a sister?
No, ma'am. She's one of our liaison staff. His Majesty requested that the new detail head have a liaison rep. Freda is one of our best. She's good at her job. She's afraid of rats, though.
I see. Shall we go see the king, then?
This way, ma'am. He leads you into the palace. He shows his badge to the knights guarding the gate, and you can hear the whisper, VIP. They stand aside and let you through. A gentleman in a fancy suit approaches you both. Lady Victoria, welcome to the royal palace. They're expecting you. This way. You and Boris follow the servant into the palace down a long fancy hallway with lots of landscape paintings covering the walls, until you reach a red door. The servant knocks on the door, pokes his head in for a moment, then opens the door all the way, letting you inside. Boris stands outside the door. Inside the room sits the king and Princess Lucy. She's sitting on the lounge sofa while he is sitting in a fancy armchair. You bow your head in respect.
Your Majesty.
The king stands up and shakes your hand. Colonel Victoria, thank you for accepting this assignment. I trust the capital has greeted you well?
More than well, sire. I haven't been to the capital since my induction ceremony.
Well, I'm glad Viking was able to get you here. After the attack 8 weeks ago and with what happened to Clement, things haven't been the same. You take a seat in one of the chairs.
Tell me, what happened that day when the palace was attacked?
Well, I was rushed to a separate bunker. Clement brought Luna and Lucy to the bunker, but they were ambushed and his sister was killed. When they exited the bunker, a marksman tried to take a shot at Lucy, but Clement jumped in the way. The rest is in the debrief file.
Well, I'll read that later tonight. Right now, I want to get Lucy ready for Friday. Your personal detail will handle things for you. My job is to make sure Lucy's birthday celebration has no incidents.
You stand up and walk over to Lucy and kneel down, pulling a device from your belt.
Your Highness, I will be in charge of your safety. This is a locator beacon. It's to be fitted into one piece of clothing of every outfit you wear. If you get kidnapped or lost, we'll be able to find you. You'll also be fitted with a protective layer of armor during your ceremony, which will be woven into your dress. At all times when you are outside the palace, you'll be accompanied by a team of knights or sisters, and never to be more than 5 feet away from me or one of your guards. And in an emergency situation, you are to do what you are told.
She takes the beacon from you. Will you find the people that hurt Clement?
We will, no worries.
You stand up and the door opens. A servant pokes his head in. Sire, Charlie is here. Send him in. The servant bows his head and opens the door all the way. A man in a white dress shirt and black tie enters and bows his head. Colonel Victoria, I'd like you to meet Charlie, my personal aide. You extend your hand and Charlie shakes it. I am also the chauffeur for the royal carriage and in charge of the royal garden. If there's anything you need, Charlie can get it, along with your liaison rep. You turn to face Charlie.
Is the head chef of the restaurant briefed on the security detail?
Not yet, ma'am. I believe that Commander Viking has the full details. He's going to give them to you tomorrow after the briefing.
Well, I believe that's everything on my end, Your Majesties. I must get ready for tomorrow.
You bow before leaving the room. Boris walks alongside you before he stops you at a junction in the hallway. Ma'am, there's something I didn't tell you before. It's official policy now that sisters and knights are to travel in pairs. With what happened to Clement, we can't afford to have another incident like that happen again. I've been assigned as your travel buddy, if you will.
And who's your travel buddy, Boris?
You are, ma'am. Shall we go to your flat?
Yes, that would be good.
You and Boris exit the palace and make your way to your flat. You unlock the door and step inside. Shall I come to wake you, Colonel?
That would be excellent, Boris. You can make sure Frida has tea and biscuits for tomorrow's briefing prepared and inform me of my schedule for the day.
What time should I wake you?
What time's the briefing?
1100, ma'am.
Can you make sure I'm awake by 0900?
I will make sure, ma'am.
Very good. Good night, Boris.
Boris salutes you and marches off. You close your door and securely lock it. You carefully take off your armor and place it on the stand before slipping into a nightgown and crawling into bed. You close your eyes and let the noise of the city and nature ease your mind as you fall asleep. End session.